Welcome everybody to the Spectrum Sanctorum. I'm Brandon Lou, along with Gung Ho Joe Dub.
Gung Ho Joe.
And this is Shedding Light, where we will be casting a light, taking a look, searching for clues on episode 7, season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, Trio's Day Off.
Yes.
Which in itself is a little hint of what was to come. I knew that this guest star was coming. I didn't know when, and I don't actually look at the show titles before watching. So I didn't realize this was going to be the episode where Matthew Broadwick, yeah, the highly esteemed Matthew Broadwick, makes his perhaps one and only appearance in the show. But who's to say? Because this is an episode that featured a lot of people we haven't seen since like maybe season 1, or just a lot of references
and a lot of cameos
to a lot of cameos from previous seasons. So if you've been a long-term viewer of the show, this is probably a really fun episode for you.
Yeah.
You know, how you feeling, Joe?
I'm great, and I just want to reach out to everybody and say, reach out to my hand, feel my hand, and subscribe to the channel. And while you're doing that, use that other hand on the computer, and then give us a like, because these things help us grow. So we need those hands. Reach out.
It feels like I'm strangling somebody. I don't know.
Oh, where's the likes now?
So this was a fun episode.
It was one of the more fun episodes that we've had. Friend of the show, Ernesto from Captain's Quadrant, he even texted me and was like, this is probably the most fun episode that they've done. There's so many cameos.
There's a lot of cameos. There's a lot of good episodes this season.
Yeah, this is a great season.
This one, but this one really felt like a throwback. I mean, there was a lot of new faces, but there was also a lot of old faces and old voices, and we even got a little cameo of Bunny.
Yeah,
you know, no speaking lines, but just a little Bunny.
Yeah,
little Bunny action there.
That was cool.
So it was nice. It was nice seeing people show up. This is an episode that has us dealing with the ramifications of the group split up. I didn't think it was going to last very long, because the whole show kind of centers around their interactions.
Exactly.
So we're starting to see the ramifications of their actions and what they plan to do about it, because it doesn't seem like things are going positive for at least 2 out of 3 of our crew, our trio.
Yeah.
We know that Charles Hayden Savage is quite lonely.
Yeah.
He's kind of like reverted to like season 1 almost. Season 1, he it wasn't like his daughter was in the show in season 1. She really didn't make an appearance until season 2.
Right.
We knew that he was separated. He was just kind of upstairs on his own, and now without Joy, both figuratively and literally. Without Joy, without his trio, his daughter doesn't live with him. He's lonely.
Right.
And it's funny. It's almost like to a certain degree, he's more hurt by the separation of the trio than he is by the separation of Joy.
Yeah, I got that too. I really felt like that hurt him more.
I think a future scene with Putnam, with Oliver, kind of like solidified that for me. But the way that they interacted, maybe because they live in the same building, seeing that their friendship specifically almost felt like a breakup. You see him spying on Oliver throughout the episode.
And they needed to check out on all the people, so I'm just taking a look at the people.
Some of these peepholes are like backwards. You can look in instead of out. So I'm just checking in. Yours seems to be fine. Uh, he's spying on him like an ex that he hasn't gotten over.
Right.
And uh, uh, that was not lost on me. That was very apparent.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
He is very lonely, and it's sad to see. You hate to see a sad Steve Martin.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
No.
But while he's alone, he ends up meeting with. He goes to the diner by himself,
And
and he sees, I forgot her name,
our
Bunny's friend.
narrator. Yeah, our narrator.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, uh, but it's there where he is confronted by the idea of being alone. And he's in a bit of denial, because she's also alone, and she's kind of like just kind of poking at him,
It
by
was Uma.
with her statements. Uma,
Mm,
thank you.
no problem.
Uma's just like kind of jabbing him, with her
She
words.
she was brutal, man. It's like
Yeah,
you never get too attached to people because then they disappear on you, like just the verbiage and just how she was very cynical from the onset of her narration in the beginning of this episode was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun,
yeah.
fun thing.
Uma is she's our narrator, and she's talking about loneliness. She's talking to him about our age. It seems like there's very few. She says that people are either what is it, alive, dead to her, or dead.
Yes. And
Actually
my
dead.
people are a lot are either dead or dead to me.
The dead are dead to me.
Yeah,
And so her happiness was that at least, Bunny wasn't dead to her when she died.
right.
You know. Um, and she's expressing her sort of hermit-like wisdom
Mhm.
to Charles, who is in denial at the start of it and believes that they'll come and apologize any moment now, but they don't. Um, and which is what leads Charles to go ahead and be kind of, a bit of a creep.
Yeah.
Uh, just a bit of a creep.
I had to check the doorbells. They asked you to check the
Yeah.
doorbells. Yours seems fine.
But also during this meeting, he realizes that Uma has Ben's hanky. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he has the bloody hanky
Mhm.
that fell with Ben
Elevator.
down the elevator. And this is a big clue. This is a big thing. Charles wants to get his hands on it, and he realizes that if he gets it, maybe he can make amends with Oliver or Mabel.
Yeah.
Yes. So what's funny is the way everything was like cut. I didn't even realize that Uma had the time to go and get the hanky.
Yeah, I was like, "How that could," but, like, wait.
Like, we saw Mabel run back
Right.
for photos. I didn't realize Uma was still in the scene.
Yeah. I
So
didn't.
maybe after Mabel ran off, Uma came back.
Yeah, exactly. And she's quick because she steals a lot of stuff. She's a
Yes, she has so
she's a
many
klepto.
things.
Yeah.
I've got to check her room for like more stuff. We get a
Yeah,
nice little look in her closet and
I wonder if
see.
she's got my original Optimus Prime and Rodimus Prime from my childhood. See if she's got it in there.
I mean, if you dropped it on the floor, she seems to just grab knickknacks, and
Yeah.
not just anyone's knickknacks, but knickknacks that I guess remind her of things, remind her of people that are close by, remind her of situations. Uh, so yeah, she's a klepto.
She is.
Uh, but she kind of put a human moment to why she's a
Yeah.
klepto.
They were like, "Oh, well, you klepto," and then she says it, and you're like, "Oh, you klepto," like, the dynamic changed very quickly.
Oh,
"Oh, you klepto."
well done. A round of applause for kleptomaniacs everywhere. Just
We get it
there
now.
you go.
Yeah.
So this she kind of sets off. Everything goes in motion, but not before we see everybody else's. Uh, how they're dealing with the separation. Um, Oliver's also having a bit of separation anxiety himself, because he needs to put on this show. He needs to put on the show,
And
and now we are without Charles. and they're going through an audition process, and none of these old men are are doing very well.
No.
You know,
They
it's like
went
we need
through
a
a lit
patter. This is as patter as it gets.
This that scene had me rolling. I had to pause it because, I still have this weird cough from COVID, and even though I'm fully recovered from COVID, when I laugh too hard, I start coughing and, like, phlegm comes up. I had to
Oh,
pause it because
yum.
I didn't wanna miss anything. It was like, "Oh, no, no." You know? There it is. Um, but when they were going through, like, a litany of Charles, it was great.
Hmm.
My god.
Yeah, he gets to share the elevator with them. The amount of people that dress like Charles, whether from Yaz, Zaz, his stunt person,
Mhm.
and now he's sharing competitors.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that sends him up to Oliver's room, not just to be a creep, but now he's like, "You're replacing me." It's like
Yeah.
he wants to see. Um, but there's a call made for a really good replacement, someone
These
arguably far more talented than this has-been TV star,
Yeah.
and it's Matthew Broadwick.
I couldn't believe it, Matthew Broderick.
And like I said, I knew he was coming. I didn't realize he was coming this episode. Um, but what a perfect place to put him in.
Yeah.
This was great. Just the consummate actor, uh, but to the extreme. Super professional, likes to get into the role, wants to get right into rehearsal, except these rehearsals last like 15 hours long.
Yeah.
You know, you take a small part of a guy like the constable with no discernible like background, and we're trying to figure out if he has a Nova Scotian accent. Oh, he's from Manhattan. That changes everything.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh my God. Matthew Broderick is so beautifully annoying.
Yeah, it's like, I
Eh,
get it, but geez.
I saw an interview uh, where he was talking about his legacy that he leaves behind.
Mhm.
And, he's not like he was at one time maybe potential to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, but
Yeah.
really the legacy that he leaves behind is probably going to be Ferris Bueller.
That and
And
and the producers, for sure. The
I think
producers.
producers has not left as culturally significant, uh, uh, an imprint
Mhm.
on America. I think among theater fans, absolutely. If you love musicals, definitely.
Mhm.
But there's been, producers on stage. There's been producers, multiple producers, films actually. So I don't know where exactly.
It lies for
I,
him.
I I feel like Ferris Bueller is like his top thing. And he's okay with that.
Mhm.
That said, if you are a big Matthew Broderick fan and you've had the luxury of seeing just so many of his works, like the producers or like this episode, it's a treat because he is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I also
He
like him as a voice actor.
Yeah,
He's just
he did really good in Rick and Morty as
yeah.
the cat.
um, but he is doing amazing. It turns out he actually has a history with Charles Hayden Savage.
Yeah, that was that was a fun little knock.
It's like
Charles
great, another person for Charles to punch.
Yeah. Charles was almost Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, yeah, almost. It's
Almost.
like you were 40 at the time.
Oh, that was great.
uh, and it does get to the point where he's so annoying
Mhm.
that that Oliver just can't anymore. He calls up Mel Brooks,
Another great
which
cameo.
which I think it's funny. It's not what whereas Charles is the has been. Oliver, while he's never really, I guess, been a success, he's like a failed director.
Right.
He's done enough
That he can
where
live
he
with.
has all these people in his contacts. Like he really does like have these pretty cool connections. and he's
Yeah.
able to call up Mel Brooks, and not only just call him, Mel Brooks answers the phone.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He answers and he's asking him about Matthew. He's like, did you tell him that you're open to his ideas? He's like, yes. It's like you're doomed.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh no. Like
He's
it
like,
becomes
never tell him that.
yeah, it becomes the biggest pain in the ass.
um, as much as we see here, and I enjoyed these interactions,
Mhm.
there's not a lot in the way of clues.
Right.
I guess that's a part of the reason why there's this is referred to as the day off, not just because it's a Matthew Broadwick
Oh,
cameo appearance,
yeah.
but or I shouldn't even say cameo appearance, just guest appearance. But also because these two aren't doing much in the way of investigating, so much as these two are dealing with life without each other.
Right.
And it finally comes to a head where Charles manages to go ahead and apologize. And Oliver apologizes in his own way. He's like, if I could apologize, I would,
Uh,
I would say this.
yeah.
It's like,
We did give him a hug. So
yes, yes. And
and
Charles knows enough about Oliver to know that was his apology, and he
right.
accepted the apology. It's like, oh.
I love Matthew Broderick, you're fired. Like he was so elated to do it. It was hilarious.
It's like I've seen him out performed by a horse, or it's like, but I bet that horse was happy to be working with Charles, and
Yeah, exactly.
he's like, and he just fed him oats. He's like, instead of just riding him and riding him and riding him, like this might have been Martin Short's best performance of.
Yeah, I totally agree. This one really had me dying. This is spectacular. So much fun. And one of the things about Martin Short is, aside from him being great at delivering lines, he's amazing with his facial features.
Yeah,
He's got such character in each face that he makes.
yeah,
It's stellar.
yeah.
And we're being gifted a treat every episode, but this one really, this was like Christmas.
Yes, yes. It's always great to see him being able to let loose because he's had so many characters from Ed Grimley to
Right.
Glick.
Glick. Glick one
Yeah,
lasted a while. That was a funny one.
yeah. Um, so seeing him being able to just like really let loose was a lot of fun for me.
Hmm.
Uh, so it is only after these two are reunited that they get to do. I don't want to say they were investigating; they're kind of investigating, but it's more of let's pull together what we already
Right.
know. You know, these two they had their own agendas. Charles, to be fair, was working with Mabel,
Right.
but he had his own stuff going on with Joy, where even to a degree he was pushing people away and not letting them help him with his relationship. Um, but now it's like, all right, here's what I found. I have this. It's like I know Uma has this hanky. We got to get this hanky.
Right.
And we have Oliver going and finally showing the scrapbook. I didn't realize that he took the scrapbook
Yeah,
home.
that was a good reveal. Like, oh, he took it with him? That's dangerous.
Yeah, if Loretta is a stalker or murderer, either way,
She's gonna
you
know.
know, yeah.
Because she usually
Um,
like, all right, not that I'm creepy, but like I've
what?
been reading a
What?
lot about BTK, the serial killer, and he
Okay,
would go back to his possession, so to speak, his uh treasures, and it would be
okay.
items from the victims, kind of like what Uma was doing, but she's not a murderer. And he would go back to them and look at them. So
Isn't she? Could she? Maybe? No? Okay.
nah, I don't think so. I don't think she has enough push in her to actually push anybody. But the one of the things I was thinking was like, oh, Loretta's gonna want to get her look at her scrapbook because that's
Yeah,
something they do. They go back to it and
absolutely.
reminisce. So she's gonna want to go back to that, and it's not gonna be there, and she's gonna know the
She's gonna
only
know.
person. in my apartment was you, Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it is here where we decide, where they decide to maybe use their pooled information, and use it as an apology to Mabel. Except, and this was, I thought, the interesting one. Mabel, who struggles so much for change when forced to change, seems to have moved on rather quickly. And I don't want to say moved on completely, because we do see where there are certain things where she's uncomfortable. But she's continuing her investigation as she said she would. She actually cares about this. This is a personal investigation to her.
Right.
She gets a little bit of help from Theo, who makes his return
Yeah,
to the show.
that's right.
Uh, I find their relationship interesting,
Yeah.
um, considering that at one point Theo was a suspect,
Yeah.
and and not only that, I almost feel like there is some romantic interest there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I feel like
it's
he, because
Mhm.
like when Theo and Tobert were going back and forth in their banter, I feel like he was kind of like taken aback by
Right,
Tobert, like,
right.
you know.
But I think, but as we see, because they even have a little bonding experience themselves when those two meet,
Yeah.
because Tarbert is obviously romantically interested in Mabel,
Mhm.
but doesn't really know how to get close, and that's something that Theo relates to. It's like can't figure her out either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, she's a tough cookie to crack,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Um,
and I like that
but
he's actually deaf in real life, the actor, so I like that they gave him the role in the show.
right, and he's a fantastic performer.
He is. He is.
Um, watching him join up with Mabel, giving her just a little hint that there is going to be a CoBRO silent auction, hosted by Dicky, uh, could lead to the next clue. Closer to Ben, the closest person to Ben, um, again, figuratively and literally,
Was
is his
Dickie.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go and check out Dickie, and we learn that Dickie was adopted. If we knew this before, I didn't remember. Uh, so for me, I was like, oh, okay, he's adopted. He's not really, and seems to have been neglected,
Right.
because he was adopted because there was thought that
They couldn't
his
be kids.
parents couldn't have children.
Right.
Then they have Ben, and Ben's just the best. Um, and from here we get a little bit of clues, small clues, maybe nothing clues, but still some clues. We have motive. We know that Ben uh, kind of got a lot of credit for Dickie's work.
Right.
CoBRO may have been according to Theo, because he, I guess, was able to see by the handwriting,
Mhm.
that the Ben on the original concept, I guess, of CoBRO was actually a R, not a B,
Right.
uh, or Richard, not Dickie.
Right.
Um, yes, so it's we have that clue now, and now that that clue is there, we now have to suspect that not only is Dickie jealous, um, we have proof that one of this biggest multi-million dollar making franchises, so to speak, was
Mhm.
a Dicky creation.
Right.
You know, so we have more motive, for murder, and it's not even his biological brother. So maybe there's, no disrespect to anyone who's adopted him. I know that they're like, you could be adopted and those people are like your family. But
Mhm.
at this moment, for this case, I am saying that not your biological brother. You were neglected because you were not biological family,
Mhm.
mistreated because you were not biological family. Um,
Which is
so
terrible.
yeah, So it kind of, I already put Dickie at like the top of my list. And
Mhm.
so this kind of solidifies that. If it wasn't for something that happened in the ending that really made me feel like they played this too hard,
Mhm.
and now we'll get into that when we get into suspects. But we see this investigation go on, and the podcast continues, Joe.
Yeah, the gang is back together.
The gang is back together, but it's a different gang. It's
Yeah.
Theo, it's Tobert, and Mabel of the Bloody Mabel hashtag Bloody Mabel. It's not the Bloody Mabel podcast yet. It is
No.
still only murders in the building, but
Right.
it looks like it will be transitioning into Bloody Mabel.
Mhm.
Um, and that in itself is a difficult transition because you see Tobert with all the equipment. He's got equipment like you, Joe.
Yeah. He spent a
He's
little bit of bucks on that. Yeah. I understand.
um, and while he's got this equipment and it's all pulled out for Mabel, Mabel's like, I think I'm just gonna record on my phone.
Yeah.
She's moving forward, but it still might be too much too soon.
Yeah.
So I have all the faith in the world that our team will be back together. Um, I would love to see the Only Murders podcast fan club come back
Right.
and be involved in this little storyline right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to see that. And of course, there's no communication with the old guys as they do this because Ben and I mean not Ben, Charles and Oliver hear the podcast as it debuts. They had like I guess an alert set up for it, and so it drops and they hear it. They're not the only ones that hear it. The cops hear it, and it looks like the investigation is about to be reopened. I look forward to seeing Detective Williams make her return as well.
Yeah.
Is it time to get into suspects, Joe?
I think so. I think it's about that time. We
All
will.
right, let's get into it. Let's take a look at our suspects.
All right.
All right, first up is Dickie.
Back again in the top spot.
Yeah, in the top spot. Sorry for everyone else that suspected. I still have my other suspects. We all know that Loretta's a bad girl.
Yeah.
And I still don't trust Kimber.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
still like cookies. The cookie conspiracy continues, and it will conclude at the 10th episode.
But Uma had the bloody handkerchief,
Mm-hmm.
and when Charles tried to get it back, it turns out that it was bought
Right.
by some fan. And we are revealed at the end of the episode that the fan was not a fan at all, but Ben's brother Dickie.
Mm-hmm.
Dickie bought the handkerchief, and on one end, I ask to myself, I say to myself, why is he trying to hide the evidence?
Right.
That's the kind of thing a killer would do.
Indeed.
But another part of me feels like we're being given too much. It's like if he's really the killer, why would they reveal this so soon?
Right.
Last episode, what was that, episode 6?
Mm-hmm.
Was the midway point.
Right.
So I expect there to be at least 5 more episodes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's going to 10.
Yeah. So it's going to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So not 5 more episodes. But I know that I expect more episodes. Why would they pull this reveal so soon?
Right.
So it kind of lowers him for me. He was like my guy.
Yeah.
But after revealing this, I'm less certain.
I don't think I think Dickie is too obvious because of everything that's been going on, the constant berating, the like finding out that a lot of his life was kind of like second tiered to Ben constantly, even his own ideas. I think they're just giving us too much to make us think it's Dickie, and it's going to be somebody else.
Understandable.
Yeah.
There really wasn't a lot in the way of clues this year, so I had to find my own suspects.
Oh.
Let's take a look at the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the CoBRO from CoBRO.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like he's ready to attack. You see right there, Mabel and Theo are not safe. Perhaps, after getting a taste of blood from his first victim, Ben Glenroy,
Yes.
we might be on the start of a whole new murder spree.
Yeah.
So CoBRO, that is a suspect now.
He made the list.
He made the list.
Yep.
Matthew Broadwick. Uh, this cheat, this cheat who's already taken so much from Charles, ruined Charles's show perhaps by killing the star.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it's just method acting gone too far. Who knew what he was up to before, being cast in this play?
Or maybe he overanalyzed the roles so much they ended up killing him.
Who knows? Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Matthew Broadwick, we're on to you. All right. And lastly,
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. No reason.
Nope.
I just never trusted the guy.
I always had a great appreciation for Mel Brooks, and I knew he had it in him.
Yeah. I saw him playing King George.
Yeah.
And in History of the World.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like him then, and I don't like him now. That guy there, that's a killer.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about his fellow man.
Nope.
So you're on the list too, Mel.
Even though he's only a iPhone FaceTime cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Who
knew what he was doing on the other end of the phone? We never got to see from his perspective. He might have been killing somebody else while hold on one second from this murder. Hello, and then I don't know why I put this to my ear.
Yeah, it's
clearly a FaceTime.
Hey,
here we go.
Yeah.
It's like, so I was on the phone with my buddy.
I couldn't have killed him. I was on the phone.
Yeah. So yeah, don't trust him. So this was not a big episode for clues.
No.
We know that. We got a couple of clues. There's some things that I'm holding on to, just small stuff.
Apparently Kimber has not come off your suspect list.
No.
And Tobert hasn't come off mine.
No, fine. I'm
keeping Tobert.
That's fine. You can keep Tobert. If you think he's the new Jan, that's okay.
Yeah. There we go.
I feel like he is very close to the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would want to be so close to the investigation if you're the murderer.
Right.
Especially considering these two and their track record for cracking it. Get as far away as you can.
Right.
Leave the goddamn country. Don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm glad you and I both have our eyes on some other people.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably let us know what your suspect list looks like.
Who is your suspect?
Who do you think? Or if we've already named the suspect, tell us why you suspect them. Who do you think CoBRO will eat next?
CoBRO!
Yeah, it was a fun episode, featured Easter eggs. There was even like a CoBRO superhero music playing in the end credits.
That's right.
Of the episode. It was a lot of fun. This episode. Tell us your favorite parts. And do remember to subscribe to our channel and keep an eye out, keep an ear out for more shedding light here in the Spectrum Sanctorum. Brandon Lou, that's Joe Dove, Gung Ho Joe.
Gung Ho Joe.
And I think it's time for us to turn these lights.